Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Welcome to Jords. Before we start, just want to say that there has been some sad news in the world of football today. A 10-year-old Charlton Athletic Academy player has passed away. We don't know how or what, but my friend who works there just sent that to me a while back, and it's now breaking all over the news. So just something to think about when we're all losing our minds with each other. Something to think about there. So rest in peace to Ethan Ade Odewale. And the best thoughts go out to his family. George, welcome. How are you, mate? Are you good on this overcast Tuesday?
Yeah, it's a bit of a yeah, it's not a great day outside, and not a great day to be a Spurs fan. And definitely, first of all, rest in peace to the little man. Rest in peace to Ethan, man. Awful news. But yeah, football side of things, we spoke a few weeks ago. I think the last time we was on your channel was maybe 3 weeks ago on this one, and we was talking about how if we got to the end of the month, there's no more marquee signings. You know, if Morgan Gibbs White's not confirmed, then it's just kudos. Panic stations. We're all at. I am at panic stations. I'm at panic stations first, and even more so because every other club around us is doing business. Everyone.
Yeah. I think this is it, George. I think the life of a Spurs fan in a transfer window is very much panic, panic, panic. Calm down, everyone. There's still 2 months to go. Panic, panic, panic. Okay, let's now panic. There's a month to go of the window. You're right. We sat here and we said, didn't we? The Spurs have to do bits. And what makes it even worse is the big four are moving like a big four. Like the big four are just rolling off signings like they mean business. Newcastle, we can talk about that in a bit, might be losing Isak, but they're bidding for players left, right, and centre. They're going to get a lot of money in for Isak, so you can be sure they're going to buy 4 or 5 players. Villa seem to be the only ones in our little bracket that aren't doing anything, and they've got PSR issues. I'll ask you this, George. Isn't it a sad state of affairs that we're almost acting like we're the club that are in trouble with PSR? We're almost acting like we've got no budget. It's sad, isn't it?
It's always sad. It's always sad because we get peddled this nonsense at the start of every single window. You know, Spurs need to sell to buy. Spurs need to sell to buy. Like we're one of the top 10 richest clubs in world football, but apparently we need to sell to buy. When there's clubs in the Premier League that actually have PSR issues, that are buying players, clubs that don't make nowhere near as much money as us, but they're buying players. Not like we've got players like we're not Aston Villa where we've got players on massive wages, so that's stopping us from. We haven't got players. I looked at our way. We've got 4 players above 100k a week.
Yeah.
Every other one of the top 6 have 10 or 15 players above 100k a week. We don't pay a lot of money. There's no reason as to why Tottenham can't spend or Tottenham can't compete with these clubs financially. It's generally just a load of nonsense, and it's just frustrating. It's frustrating because, like I said, we're moving like we're a club that have PSR issues, and we quite clearly don't. Spurs know we don't. The fans know we don't. But we're out here, you know, Spurs are waiting around for targets. Spurs are trying to watch. I know in the next week or two, the one word we're going to start here is market opportunities. Spurs are looking for market opportunities. We're looking for market opportunities after we've been sat around doing nothing for a month.
But it's the difference between being proactive and reactive, right? Yeah. Like, you know, an opportunity presented itself. How about we go and make it an opportunity? Go and make our own opportunities. And I think that the thing that gets me, George, with all of this is how bloody difficult can a transfer window be? I'm seeing smaller clubs, and I got told off last night for saying smaller clubs, but there are smaller clubs. It's the way the world works. There are smaller clubs that are identifying their targets, engaging and getting their player. Sunderland, right? Brighton. I'm looking at Marseille. I've just agreed a deal for Pashao, a Feyenoord, a winger that gets in our team. Yeah. You've got Everton in talks for Grealish and Malik Fofana, and you're like, hang on. Hello, Tottenham Hotspur Champions League. It's mad, mate. It's mad.
Yeah, it's just like, the constant issue with Spurs, we always fall behind our rivals. We fall behind everyone else's business. So then we're at the point of when we start looking for players, which is usually the second week of August. Most of the best players have been wrapped up. So just like last season when we started to end up with the likes of Odebert and so on, we end up with Odebert because our top 2 or 3 targets were already gone. So Odebert was the next best one, and we will have to accept that Odebert is that guy. He's the next best one out of those 3, but we should be going for target A or B. That shouldn't even be a question. Especially with this new manager coming, especially after we had this news that there was new investment coming into Spurs because the so-called stadium naming rights has finally been sold. So it's just like we constantly get sold dreams as Spurs fan. It was like the one time when we actually thought our club was moving serious, it was a dream. It was a dream. We're going to have 2 here we goes in 1 week. We damn sure lost our minds. We literally did, because that was never going to happen as a Spurs fan. Literally never.
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, look, we're starting to get now the same old things are happening. Now Spurs are on tour. What Spurs official are doing, they're flooding all of the YouTube feeds and the Instagram posts with, oh, look at all our players having fun in a swimming pool together. Here's every word that Thomas Frank said in the press conference. Here's our players taking penalties in the training ground. I'll be honest, George, I don't care. Sign some footballers. Look, the only one that I'm going to use this loosely, the only solid link that we've got at the moment is Paulinho. He's the only one that we're hearing, yes, we're interested. Even the wording on that from Romano, like I think it was on Friday, he said, yes, Spurs are interested. And over the next weeks, what do you mean weeks? Chelsea would go, how much more for Paulinho? 30 million? Mad, mate. Mad.
Yeah, and the thing is, even with that, though, it said over the next week, but the one thing I took from that is they said there's been we've spoke with the players' agents. We've not even spoke to the club. So we know with Spurs, it's once you start speaking to the club is when the issues start to arise. And I know, yeah, cool, we have a good relationship with Bayern, having already bought Tell from them. But we know that that's where the longest period for Spurs is. Doing club-to-club negotiations takes far too long because Spurs are always trying to wheel and deal. So when I'm looking at this, like, yeah, Paulinho is the only player that we were interested in. All the other players that we're linked to just aren't players that we actually need. And then you see something like Udogie that come out this morning. Udogie's injured. So Udogie's injured. We've not even looked at a left back. I've not even seen one left back link. The one left back link we did see was Carl Walker-Peters, who's been picked up by West Ham, but he was not good enough anyway. And then the only other one was another former Tottenham Academy graduate in Dennis Serkin, who isn't good enough. Like I can't understand the logic of where Spurs is taking forward in this window. Like we need to start, and the constant issue with me and with Friday. Spurs is that no, it's fine. Is that we're always trying to sign players as backups. If we're signing up a player, it should be as competition. I don't want to sign Dennis Serkin to be backup to Udogie. I want to sign a left back that's going to be better than Udogie. Udogie has had a poor season.
George, if we're a real football club, if we're a serious football club, I'm going down the road to West London and I'm saying to Fulham, how much you want for Anthony Robinson?
That's right? Exactly what I said earlier.
And what I'm doing is I'm saying, Anthony Robinson, you're my number one. Udogie,
do something about it.
Do something. You know, show me in training. When you don't play, when I'm rotating, show me you're better than that. We're not serious though, George. And this is the thing, Chelsea, they do this. Chelsea have got about 19 centre-backs still going after Hato, right? Chelsea have got wingers, playmakers, still going after Xavi Simons. I know we hate them. I know we get frustrated with them. But I am so jealous that they move like that. It's almost like saying, all right, you know, we've got Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo as our midfield pairing, which I think is brilliant, by the way. Lavia, show me. Fight your way into that team. And you know what? If you're not good enough, like Dewsbury Hall, see you later. We're selling you to Fulham. Proper football club, ins and outs. Imagine if we was doing content every day as a Chelsea fan. The ins, the outs. Mate, we'd be millionaires. We'd be millionaires. It's just
there's constantly something going on over there. And it's like they're the one team you hate to be jealous of. Like I say, you hate to be jealous of Chelsea. But they are generally like a few years ago, we could have laughed at Chelsea because some of the business they were doing, scattergun approach, it weren't making sense. They're bidding for loads of different players. There wasn't really a clear structure as to what type of players they're going for and how they're going to fit into the team. But right now, after going through that stage, they've learned. They've learned from their mistakes and they're building on it. And now they're actually targeting top young talents that fit into their team, talents that fit the profile of players that they need. And the type of, the money that they're spending is not massive amounts. Chelsea aren't spending 80, 90 million pounds on players. They got Joao Hato to 40 million euros. Like,
I know.
This is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money.
When you look at the end of this window, Chelsea are going to have made, what, 100 million quid roughly, whatever it is, for the World Club Cup.
Yeah.
They've sold Petrovic. They've sold João Felix. They've sold Madueke. They're selling Dewsbury Hall, Sterling. They're trying to get rid of Renato Vega. And when you look and you go, they're going to fund Pedro Delap, Gittins, Simmons, and Hato through selling footballers. And I look at Spurs and it's like, well, we're going to try and offload Basuma or Richie. Well, I've got an idea, George. Maybe if you do want to offload them, don't take them on tour. Make a statement. Sorry, guys. Stay in London. Agents, you better get your players. You better get your new players a new club. That's what you. But we don't act like this. There's no urgency. There's no desperation. There's no prior planning. And in the press conference that Thomas Frank's just done, and listen, I don't put any of the blame on Frank, by the way. He's been here about 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. But he has to say, look, I like my squad. He can't turn around and go, no, I hate my squad. But he did say at the end, look, we are looking for players. When you think looking, don't we have a scouting team that their job all year round, 365 days, gears up for this very period of time? I'm embarrassed, mate. I'm at the stage where I'm genuinely embarrassed, and that you and I can go onto panel shows, and what do we say? We're a laughingstock.
Yeah, it's funny because I was literally asked the question today. I was like, what is Spurs doing? How are you feeling from the North London derby this week? I said, mate, I'll be honest, I don't see us winning any of our preseason friendlies. No. I can't look at it. I watched the Wickham and Luton ones and I was like, wow, our midfield is bad. Like, our midfield is missing a massive ball progressor. We're missing so much creativity. And yes, our most creative players are out of the team. But
hello.
Just come and show me your lunch. But yes, our most creative players are out of the team. But more than anything, like, you can still see that team is missing key midfield acquisitions.
Sure.
Whether that's someone to break down the play or whether that's someone to progress the play. We should have already identified the targets of what we want. And what I should be hearing from our manager is we are working on deals at this moment in time. Let's see what happens. Like, I shouldn't hit. We're still trying to find players. What do you mean we're still trying to find players? There's plenty of players out there. So many players that should be identified. If we weren't going to get Morgan Gibbs-White, should be moving on to the next target. Whether that's Douglas Luiz, whether that's someone else, we should be moving on ASAP. We should have already moved on within these weeks. We should have already agreed personal terms with that target just in case that this happened.
No, I completely agree. I'll tell you what. Do you know what? It's infecting the fan base, George, because we've got 460 people inside the building, 68 likes.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not having that, people. I mean, what am I? Am I a mug? Am I a mug, guys? Come on. Smash that like button. By the way, please, would one of my mods be so kind to stick in George's link and help him get to his next target? Also, please subscribe to me. We're nearly at 20.1k. So please get moving on that, guys. Come on. I know Spurs are letting us down, but come on, we're out here trying to give you the content, trying to keep your spirits up. George, one thing I would say, I was just speaking to my uncle about this. And he just said to me, he said, Spurs are taking the piss out of the fan base. That's what this is at the moment. That's what the transfer windows are becoming. They're literally taking the piss out of us. They charge the earth. They promise the world. And then when it gets to transfer windows, Tell, Takai, Danso. All right, Kudus is the one which has pacified us, but it is taking the piss out of the fans, isn't it? At this stage, they're mugging us off.
Yeah, quite surely, man. Like, I'm all. I think that's the only way to look at it. That generally is the only way to look at it. Like that, we'll be charged the highest ticket price. We get charged this, we get charged that. We take away concessions. And then they tell us Daniel Levy has the cheek 2 months ago to say he wants to win the Premier League. I want to win the Champions League. And they peddle that out everywhere, you know, put that all in your face that, yeah, our chairman is ambitious. He wants to do things. And then they sit around for 2 months doing nothing in the transfer window. And they're going to tell us, yeah, you know, Tel and Danso was signed this. No, Tel and Danso was signed in January. Those fees and so on would have been agreed in January. And they just triggered the deals now. So I don't even.
Vucevic was agreed, what, a year ago?
Over a year ago. Yeah, we signed long ago. Like, and this is the same thing again, what they done last summer transfer window. We're in the exact same position. We're coming into the 1st of July with one signing. Last year, we didn't even have a marquee signing at this point, but we had one signing. And then we went over in the next 2 to 3 weeks and signed like some decent, fairly, like not improving the first 11 players. If we go and do that again, we generally are just shooting ourselves in the foot. We might as well give up next season. We're putting Frank in the worst position possible to succeed. Because I can't see how we're going into a season where we're playing more games. We're playing more games than last season. We're playing a higher quality game than last season. It's not Europa League. You can't play youngsters like Mike. Mike Moore's gone out on loan for a reason because he's not going to get no minutes. He's not playing Champions League football. We need players that can play at Champions League football. And we've not signed enough. Like we still need, I'd say 4 or 5 players.
I
at
agree.
least 3 of them into that first 11 instantly. We need 3 first 11 players for me.
Mate, absolutely. And by the way, yeah, Angus, I have seen your boy Max Dowman. I've also seen a very funny video of this man sitting next to me, falling off his chair. I did see that. That was very, very funny. Yeah, listen, Max Dowman is a good player. However, Angus, I just would say to any fans that talk about players, let him develop, man. Like let him develop. I'm seeing people talk about him like he's Messi, and it's like, cool. How many people get called Messi and how many actually turn out to be like Messi? I haven't seen one.
That's the thing. That was literally what I heard from Arsenal fans yesterday was he's the best 15-year-old since Messi. And I was like, okay.
It's too much when fans do this. Like all the fans going, oh, you watch Mikey Moore next year, cut it in the Premier League. We're in the middle of loaning him out. So, you know, you've got to give them time. But look, what I will say is there's people saying, oh my God, Thomas Frank has said that he's happy with the squad. Guys, I think you've got to remember, Thomas Frank sitting in a press conference, right, with Mickey van der Ven, one of his players, and he's asked about his squad. He's not going to turn around and go, it's crap. He's not going to turn around and go, oh my God, we've got holes everywhere. He's not going to do that. I think he gave the professional answer. Hey, happy with my squad. However, we are looking at new players. Cool. People are going to take this, Jords, and turn this into, oh, he's a yes man. Oh, my God. You know, he doesn't want to sign players. We do go a bit over the top, don't we, as fans?
I mean, that's part of us being as fans, isn't it? We are going to go over the top like that, is it? We're emotional. Sure. We're emotional fans. Like, we can only take it in the moment. Frank obviously knows everything that's going on behind the scenes. We don't know. And quite frankly, this has probably been one of the most quieter windows the past 2 years anyway, because we were used to having Parrot teaching, getting links every other day to players. Now we don't get links to players. You can go a week without Spurs having a new link to a player. And it's just like, what is going on? And it's worrying. It's constantly worrying because you see all these other teams getting links and moves are happening. And yes, there have been times when there's no link and then all of a sudden deal's done. And I'm happy about that. I'm happy that sometimes there's no link and the deal's done. But for far too often, the radio silence, it's building up all this pent-up energy that's making me hate my club. Like, I'm feeling like, what's going on?
Do you think that's half the problem, though? Like, I always talk about optics, right? I always talk about optics, and I don't mean what the spirits sit on. But when you look at it, I think we have got a director of football now that whether people like him or not, whether we think he's doing a good job or not, he does dare in the darkness. You know, all this nonsense. He does. He works quietly and in the darkness. Is that half the problem, Jords? And as a fan, would you, and I'll ask everyone in the chat, all of you, I want to hear this. And by the way, here's Jords' link. Please go and subscribe. There's nearly 550 of you in here. I want this man getting an extra 100 subs. Come on, people. Come on. They're giving our guests giving their time for our show. So please give time for theirs. As a fan, would you rather be hearing link, and not a lot happens, or would you rather radio silence and then every now and then, here we go? What would you rather as a fan?
The YouTube side of me might want link.
I knew it.
You know what I mean? Like the YouTube side of me might want link because I'm live every day. I need something to talk about. I want something new, but at the same time, no. As a football fan, definitely it's better to have radio silence and then a deal clicked, and you get to. I like that, the old school feeling of when you wouldn't know about a transfer and you just see a player turn up at your training ground. That was the Sky Sports. I was like, oh, this player's at the training ground. It's like, yeah, this is it. The deal's happening, fam. We don't have to hear about everything else. I like that. But at the same time, it does worry because let's have it right. In this day and age, there's way too many leaks. There's leaks everywhere. It's very hard to keep a deal under wraps. So if there is no news coming out, it does tend to mean that there's not a lot happening usually at the time because like if it takes a month to get a deal done and then the news comes out, then I can't, like, you're not speaking to a player every day for a month or speaking to the team every day for the month. And if you are, and it takes you that long to get a deal done, then it's a very bad deal. Like we're clearly not doing our job good. So I just think that there's, you can look at it that way, There's goods and there's positives for both sides, but I do think the radio silence actually means a lot of the time there's not a lot going on, and that's what.
Agreed. In 2025, how much really happens in the darkness? Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be information coming out, but I think what's frustrating. I saw a comment just now. I want to touch upon it loosely. Don't worry. Sometimes when I bring up comments, I'm not going to rip you to pieces, people. I think this is interesting, right? Because this is one that gets me, right? I look at Spurs and I don't think we've got a lot of firepower. I genuinely don't. And there's a player there in Sesko who we know and I'm going to use Fabrizio Romano talk here, has had the project presented to him by both Newcastle and Man United. Yeah. And I can't help but sit there and I think, why have we not made that a freeway? You know what I mean? Why have we not joined in and been like, let's show a little bit of ambition. Let's go to them and go, hang on, we're in London for one. We're in the Champions League for the other. Why are we not looking at players like this? But Man United and Newcastle are. I'm just using him as an example, right?
Yeah. I think there's a few things about a deal like this. For one, the Sesko deal seems to be one where Leipzig are in control more than anyone. I feel like Spurs don't like to do deals where the selling club's more in control of the player than we could be. So it's a case of we could put in an offer that they want and they accept, but we know that behind the scenes, they're going to start pushing him out to other teams saying, look, this offer's accepted. You come in, you come in, you come in. And they've been doing that all window. They've been trying to create this fiasco, which has been, the Sesko saga. Which team is he going to go to so they can get a potential fee at a higher amount? So I feel like with Spurs, we just never do bidding wars. Spurs aren't in for players where other teams are in for it too often. It's usually we get in, that player wants us, and then we go. If the player indicates that he may want another team, we tend to step away from the deal. So I just can't see Spurs going in for a player like that. But also, I think because we invested £65 million in Solanke just last year, Daniel Levy and I suppose the rest of the Spurs contingent are probably looking at it like we need to get more out of Solanke. So yeah, I agree. We probably could get more out of Solanke, but he needs competition. Just like all of our. The problem with Spurs is just competition, man. We always sign in one player for a position rather than having two strong players in that position and have them competing for that. Like, that's how you get the best out of your team. Like, when the guy said bring in Watkins, that could be an option. I wouldn't be against it, 40. He's a bit older, but he's good. He's creative. He can score goals. I don't think he's necessarily the player that Spurs need, and I think we probably need someone that can, be a bit more multi-versatile, so you could potentially play on the wing or on the middle or just play multiple positions. But a player like that, someone who gets goals, that's what we need. We need someone who can score goals from multiple angles and not just be... Because when I look at Solanke and his time at Spurs, all of his goals are within the 18-yard box. I don't ever see him putting it to the side, shifting his shoulder, dropping a shoulder, creating a space for a shot. That's not his type of game, but we need a player like that.
Yeah, it is... It would be lovely to see us go for Watkins for many reasons for me. A player like Watkins, it would be nice, first of all, just to show, we can go to a bigger club and take a player. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying Villa are the biggest, but it would be nice to say, okay, you're in money trouble. We're not. Ollie, come here, join us. Two, I think it's a different profile of striker that we've got. I think when you look at Richarlison and Solanke, both press, both big, both awkward, none of which I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't see the dropping of the shoulder, shifting the ball. And and we'll get that from Watkins. But third of all, options, man, like options. Wouldn't it be nice to know that someone coming off the bench, whether it's Solanke or a Watkins, someone coming off the bench has got something about them rather than, no offense, rather than a Lancashire or a Richarlison but we just don't seem to do it. We really don't seem to act properly. And maybe it is time for everyone to 1,000,000% protest. Now, I don't believe they work the protests, but I don't know how it changes, George. I really don't. We got the get out of jail free card after a terrible year, but we sneaked in the back door. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've been rejected at the front door of the nightclub because we're not old enough.
Yeah.
We sneaked in through a fire exit at the back, and then we got into the club and just sat in the corner and not talked to anyone. Like we're there. We're in the Champions League. We got there. Do something. Act like it. Act like a Champions League football team.
Yeah, it's all one for the one thing we ask. Like, we always get, like, we've been told for years, Spurs need the Champions League money to go spend like a Champions League team. Right. We need the Champions League football to go and get certain players because those players don't want to come to us about Champions League. At the moment, from what it looks like, we don't even want Champions League level players. We're not even trying to get players that want to go to a Champions League team. We're still going for players that would come to us with or without Champions League. Kota Takai and stuff like Pauline. Like, we're not actually looking at players to take this massive step forward in our team. And I feel like it's just time and time again, we fall for the dream. We fall for it. And that's where the problem is. Like we said, like, every year we know as Spurs fans, the majority of our business gets done in August. We know. We generally do. We know 90% of our signings get done in August. But it's nice to think that there might be a change every year. And they do tell us every year that there's going to be some type of change. You know, this year we had the board reshuffling. It's like, oh, yeah, they're going to change the way Spurs have been operating because they're not happy. We operate in the exact same as we had before. And we're now 4 weeks into July and we've got one signing, or you could say two. But Takai's injured as well. I don't know if people saw Takai's injured. He's been hit by the Spurs medical department. So, like, we
haven't even seen Takai in a Spurs shirt, and he's picked up an injury. But it's I looked at this the other day, and I'm sure you have done loads on your channel as well. But I mean, when I looked at the squad like this, and then I thought, okay, whatever. But then I broke it down. Someone broke it down like this.
That's why I wanted to look at it like that to really,
And this is, as we said, other than the first three lines, which is the keeper, the right back, and the centre halves. God, it's poor, isn't it? Like nothing. I'll tell you what. I was having a chat with Lubo this morning, right, George, and what we said was the worrying thing is we've not got any of that magic up front that we used to have.
Yeah,
we've not got that magic in the midfield that we used to have. And I think we've just signed a little bit of magic in terms of, oh, hang on, why won't you let me? Hang on 1 second. Sorry, my computer's, oh my God, it's frozen on my brands. And I can't get rid of this screen.
Happened to me earlier.
Hang on, let me put us to the side. Sorry, guys. Here you go. Sorry, there we are. There we are. I'll try and get rid of this in the meantime. But we talked about it. It's sad that, okay, maybe with Kudus now we've got a little bit of stardust. But you look around this team now, we always used to have, even in our dark days, George, we always had a couple of special players.
Yeah. And
now I'm looking at this and going, where is it? Like, where's the special footballers? Where's the players that another club are going to come in and go, we want him for 100? Where's the Carrick that United had to have? Yeah, the Bale, the Modric, the Berbatov, the Sheringham, the Kane. We haven't got any.
Yeah, we don't. We got talent. We got talented players, but none of them have proven it enough to even show that their talent was worth the money we've invested, or it's worth even giving them a go in the first team. Like I say, when you look at this left back, just having Davies isn't even a left. He's played centre back for the past 4 years or so.
Yeah.
So putting him in, like, it's even embarrassing having him as our only left back. You know, it'll be interesting to see some of the younger players, you like Vescovic and Byfield. They look pretty good. Then you look at the central midfield, like you said, Basuma shouldn't even be in the squad. I don't even know why he's come on this tour. Basuma shouldn't be there. It should just be Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, Gray, and Abbott. And again, we're lacking, like, we need a name in there. So we need a 6. Then you need somebody else to come into that other section. Yeah, Kulusevski would be there, but you need Maddison, Kulu, and potentially another player that can fit in both categories, which would have been a Morgan Gibbs-White. Donnelly, I see him playing left back the other day again, and I was just like, why are we wasting one of our top talents from our academy, putting him in left back? Like, he's not a left back, and he's doing the same mistake that Andrew's making. But hey, look, it is what it is, and yeah, that front line is just really weak. I did see something to suggest that Lancashire could be staying with us for this season and he won't be going out on loan, which again, I'd be concerned because although he's looked okay at times, he's not pulled up any trees. It's not like he was Harry Kane at fucking 21. So when you're seeing him come on the pitch, it's not like he's not doing anything crazy to warrant us keeping him. So yeah, we've got a really weak squad at the moment. Like when you're looking at this as our full squad, it's weak, so bad.
Really weak. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to try something. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, I can't get rid of this.
This one guy.
You know when you go into media assets and you can scroll up and down, it won't let me scroll up and down. Sorry, I'm going to see. Is there a way I can make
if you leave the studio and come back into the studio, it might work.
Yeah. Guys, I'll come back. George, hold the fort.
I'll hold the fort. Savva's going to go and come back, but you know, I would like to know, one thing I'd like to know looking at this team is what do people think of those wingers? Because I'm looking at those wingers and I'm thinking those wingers are an issue. If you take away Son, there we go.
Oh, sorry, guys. I won't be doing that again. yeah, man. Like, I look at it and do you know what I look at it? And I think it's a decent squad, right? I think it's if they play 1 game a week squad, I think it's top 6, top 7. I think if you're playing 2 games a week, I'm saying it's top 10.
Yeah.
But that squad, if I've ever looked at a Spurs squad and said, Levy, now is the time to sprinkle a bit of stardust. It's now. For years, we were okay. We had Kane. Kane covered over a multitude of sins at this football club because we could have whatever other 9, 10 players. As long as you had Kane, you had 30, 40 goals a season. Mm-hmm. Son was part of that as well. You know, but when you go back to the Poch team where we had Ericsson, Ali, Son, Kane, Dembele, Walker and Rose were dynamic. Everyone wanted them. Out of Ira, Vertonghen. Now you look at this and I just go, George, the thing I say is, who are you really upset about tomorrow morning if you wake up and you see they've been sold? Who are you really upset about? Not, I would have kept him. Who are you like, shit, he's left the club?
I'll be honest, like, it's hard to think of Spurs players like that because I'm actually like, when I look at our whole squad right now, I have a lot of personal favorites, but then like you said, even if some of my personal favorites left, I'd be like, well, they're replaceable. You know, none of the players we have now are like superstars. Kudus is the only player I'd be upset with that left. Kulusevski, yeah, I'd be damn upset about him. He's one of my favorite players, but again, like I still need to see the consistency from Kulusevski before I'm really upset about it because he plays good for a couple months, then disappears. So like, yeah, Kulu's a top player, but away from that, like the defense, no. I wouldn't be super upset about any of the defenders leaving. I really wouldn't. Like, I don't think any of them are that amazing.
Doesn't this absolutely sum it up though? Like back in the day, it was like, oh my God, we got Bale. You know, people were like, oh my, we've got Bale. Yeah, if you want him, come and give us 100 million for Bale. We've got Modric at the time. If you want him, give us 40, 50 million, which at the time was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not like now where everyone's going for 40 million. You know, we've got Carrick. We paid 2 million for him, sold him 2 years later for 18 million, which was a lot of money. Now we're just like, listen, as I said, it's not a bad squad. No, I knew I'd get one of these comments, so I'll bring it up. I'm going to bring it up because I knew I'd get one of these comments because the Ange Postecoglou fans cannot let go. Like, cannot let go. I can't find it now. Basically, someone turned around and said, here you go. Rudolph. Big up, Rudolph. Really appreciate your comment, mate. Said, you guys talk a load of rubbish. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice to hear. You are now saying the squad is weak, no left back, etc. But under Ange, you were saying that the squad is strong. No. What we said was the squad shouldn't be 17th.
Yeah.
Right? Rudolph, there's a big difference between me saying The squad isn't amazing, and the squad shouldn't be 17th. One game a week, I just said, one game a week, I think this squad gets European football in the league. 2 games a week, balancing Champions League, I think we're a top 10 team, top 8, 9, maybe.
Yeah.
Now,
same.
if you can't hear that, Rudolph, something my mum used to say, rest in peace, 2 of these, 1 of these, right? 2 of these and 1 of these. By the way, last year, he didn't have 1 left back, did he? Ange Postecoglou didn't have 1 left back. He could have used Reguilon at any point. He had a Dogi. Spence could play there, right? So, no, he didn't. But, look, sorry, the whole Ange thing is just driving me insane, George. Like, he left like 2 months ago or something. Like, can we let it go? Can we? But
yeah, some fans really can't let it go in it, and it's like you said there. It's like we made it very clear that Ange was underperforming, but Frank can only do so much. Frank can't make this team overperform that much and push us that far into the European places. Right now, like I said, with Champions League football and Premier League football, it's a lot to balance, and it's not the same as you don't drop players for your Champions League squad. You play your best team in the Champions League, and then you play your best team in the Premier League. So it's very different to last year. Very different.
I'll tell you what, this is a key thing. I'm a huge fan of context, right? Last year, there were many group games where we were able to rotate for the Europa League because we were playing Elfsborgs, Karabag, Ferencváros, like team. This year, you're not going to be playing teams of that caliber. And we saw this last year with Aston Villa. Aston Villa were playing, the Saturday? And then the Tuesday night, they're having to put out their best team again against Bayern Munich. And that's what we're going to have to do. And I think people are going to have to understand that. But yeah, Mikhail, listen, big up to you, my man, out in Poland. Hope you're well, brother. I'll be honest. Listen, I think the players you've named, I think are good footballers, but none of them are that level that I was just talking about. Like when we looked at a Modric and a Bale and a Kane and a King none of them are like Porro, good footballer. Poor defender, good footballer. Kulu, on his day, really good footballer. Too many spells where he goes months at a time doing nothing. Maddison, he's my favourite Spurs player. But again, I wouldn't be upset if he went. I'd be like, right, who are we replacing him with? But I hear you, my man. I hear you. George, I'd love to sit on this show and us to have a player to talk about or someone we're in talks with or yada, yada, yada. But the facts are we are now, if I'm not wrong, we are 15 days away from PSG. We are 15 days away from playing the best team in the world at the moment. And I know Chelsea fans will hate me saying that because they're the World Club Cup champions. But are you worried going into, I mean, I know it's only one game and PSG are going to be the overwhelming favourites, whatever. Are you worried of how unprepared we are going into that game?
Yeah, I'm really worried. And the thing is, when I'm looking, like, I thought that we would sign players to use those players in this preseason tour to prepare for that game being our first game of the season. Like, the viewers should be all steam ahead. PSG's the first game of the season. We need all of our signings in. We need all of our players in to prepare for that game being a trophy. It looks like Spurs aren't even going to have any of our signings in, maybe one more, but the fact that we're going on our preseason tour tells me that over the next 2 weeks, our focus is not signings, our focus isn't incomings, our focus is playing the tour. So even if a player does come in, it's not like they're going to fly out to the tour instantly and just carry on. It's just not going to happen. We know it's not with Spurs. So when I'm looking at this PSG game, we are so poorly prepared for this one that we just have to look at the next couple of performances to see how we do. And pretty much it's going to be how badly do PSG beat us. That's what it's looking like right now. Because after the Chelsea game, I was filled with confidence that if we had a few players in, if we had Kudus, if we had some of these other players that we targeted and maybe a central midfielder, maybe a left back, maybe a striker or another left winger, just 3 or 4 players in, then we could have used those and be like, all right, let's approach this game similar to what Chelsea done, tactically set up in the right way, and we could beat them because we saw Chelsea just completely outclass PSG. But I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, we've just not got enough quality. We've not got enough quality, nor do we have from what I've seen anyway, the right tactical setup, because the players still look like they're struggling under Frank. They're still getting used to his system, which is fair, but we look poor against Wickham and Luton. We couldn't even put the ball in the back of the net against Luton. How are we going to do it against PSG? I'm really, really worried about this game. And I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know how we're going to get through that one. I really don't know.
It's crazy though, isn't it? 'Cause like when you look at Chelsea playing them, I mean, Chelsea, what they have got, and I will say this, I know a lot of people mocked them 2 years ago when they paid huge money for Caicedo and Fernandes, but those two have blossomed into a superb midfield partnership. And when you put Cole Palmer in front of them, that's such a good free. That's such a good free. And I look at our midfield options and go, how are we going to cope with Yao Neves? I can always get their names wrong. Ruiz, Neves, and Vitinha.
Yeah.
And this is what I say. When people keep telling me we only need a DM, George, I think we need a DM. I think we need a guy who passes through the lines and can keep hold of the ball. And this is my worry. We are miles off. And this is a Chelsea team, by the way, who are nowhere near favourites to win the league. This is a Chelsea team who are like full favourites to win the league. And we're nowhere near them in terms of quality. But I want to move it on, right, to, are you somebody who's bothered about, look, the next 3 games, we've picked 3 tough ones, right? Arsenal, Newcastle, Bayern Munich. Are you somebody who's bothered by the results in these 3 games being pre-season? Or is it more for you, for Thomas Frank to have the chance to look at the players still and slowly start moulding into what will be the first 11 for PSG?
Yeah, I usually use pre-season just to evaluate performances. I evaluate the performances, the players, how the players, especially with a new manager, you just want to evaluate the system and the setup. So I don't necessarily care about the result. I don't care about the scoreline. Don't care if Spurs get battered. We've seen seasons where Man United batter Arsenal in pre-season and then get battered. You know, they finish wherever they finished in the season. The year that Liverpool won the league, not this time, but the last time, they lost all their pre-season games and still managed to win the league. So I don't necessarily think that there's a correlation between pre-season results and, you know, new season, how it starts. But the performances are key. We have a lot of changes going on at Tottenham right now, but a lot of new implementations into that system. But we've not got players that actually fit those implementations. Like, I feel like right now, Frank's having to do what Ange had to do. And this is the one bit where we could all, you know, give Ange is square pegs, round holes. This is what Frank's having to do. The exact same thing that Ange having to do. He's having to work with players, some of these players that don't fit the system, and he's just having to figure it out. So when he's, you know, it's quite clear that Frank plays with a double pivot. When he's looking at the players that are going to play in our double pivot, you can use a Basuma, but he's not at the required level. He's not the player that you need. You can use Bentcore, but he's not the player you probably need. He probably wants I think he probably wants 2 midfielders. He wants, like I said, a destroyer midfielder and a ball progressor.
Paulinho Gibbs White, I think, was the plan. I think that was the plan.
And that would have been a major improvement. And then you could have got rid of maybe Basuma and another player and had like Saar, Bergvall, Bentcore. Now that's depth. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, they're great depth options. They're all different type of players that coming into the game can add something different. That's fine. But when they're your first teamers and they're all very similar, but neither of them actually stand out in one specific part of the game in midfield, it's just like we're lacking so hard. So there's not too much that you can take from these games, but it's also going to be embarrassing, isn't it? Because we've got North London derby. Like I don't want to lose to Arsenal, friendly or not. I don't want to watch us get embarrassed by them.
And this is the thing. I mean, we were talking about this last night. By the way, big up to my man, the Rude Boy Sound. Where in the world are you right now? Because you were away on your travels last time we spoke. I just love the Rude Boy Sound inside. Is it unprepared or not strong enough from lack of quality signing? Well, listen, this is what we're going to find out. I mean, look, it's not ideal, is it, that we're going through these pre-season games without Solanke, without Maddison, without Kulu, because Solanke, in theory, is your goals, and Maddison and Kulu, in theory, well, not in theory, in reality, are your creativity, which is why I'm not going to lose my mind if Arsenal beat us on Thursday night. Yeah. What I have noticed, I want to try and find a little bit of a positive here. What I have noticed, George, in these first 3 games, that people are absolutely losing. People are having aneurysms over, oh my God, We didn't beat Luton. Oh my God, sack him, sack Frank, sack him immediately. What I will say is what I've noticed from the 3 games is that you can see he's worked immediately on the back 4, whoever plays, that there's actually a back 4 in place, not a back 2. And you can see immediately that he protects the back 4 with the double pivot. So for me, I think it was very telling after the 2 games the other day when he dropped into his interview and said, for me, one of the key things I've focused on immediately has been the defensive part of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes as to where we've been the last 2 years, is that we didn't have any defensive structure. So do people need to lay off a little bit in terms of the attacking and the creativity with the injuries we've got, plus the implementation of the back 4?
Yeah, no, I think people probably need to realize that Frank is known for being similar to Arteta in the fact that he's not a pragmatic manager, but he's defense first. Like he always thinks of his defense, and they set up their teams to be very defensively astute. But I think the attacking problems have always been there. They've been there, and they're even that you highlight them and they're magnified right now because of the lack of attacking quality we have with no Maddison, no Kulu, and some of these players. With these players coming back in, you're naturally going to see a jump in our creativity. But the problem is because these players ain't had the same amount of time to work with Frank. That's why we need to be signing players. And I'll be honest, I'm looking at even Maddison and Kulu, and I'm saying, yeah, they're good 10 options. But are either of them competing with the league's best for the term? I don't know.
Sure.
So it's even then, and I'm like, Spurs just need to sign. Like right now, I don't even care about where the signings are made. I just need improvements. I need players that are better than the ones we currently have. So if that means you bring in a central attacking midfielder, we might not need one, but he's better than what we have. Fine.
Yeah.
I can work with
bodies.
that.
Get me bodies that are better than the bodies we've got. Yeah. But what I will say is, like my man Rudolph, I love you, dude. You're funny. I mean, when you're saying you're bothered by the results of these games, let's be fair. If we lose 2-1 to Arsenal or beat Arsenal 2-1 in a friendly, it's not going to change the Premier League. It's not going to change. And I keep giving this example. The best Spurs pre-season I've ever seen was 2008. We just won the League Cup and we were battering. I think we battered Dortmund 3 or 4-0. We battered Roma about 8-0, something ridiculous, 6-0, whatever it was. We were battering everyone, right? The first 8 games of the season, Jords, we lost 6 and drew 2, right? Then, look at the really good start we had under Ange 2 years ago. The pre-season, we actually didn't do well. The 2 games we won in pre-season were Shakhtar because Kane got 4. I think Kane got 4. I think it was his last game for Spurs, right? Kane got 4. And the other team we beat, Jords, you remember the mighty battle against Lions City Sailors, right? Like, so it goes to show that the pre-season results for me don't necessarily correlate to do we start well. For me, I think that George is 100% right. 100% right in everything he's just said there. What I'd add on to that, George, is what I looked at the other day, especially the Luton game. I was watching Kudus closely, who I think is a very good footballer. You can see technically, you can see he's probably the best player at the club. You can easily, just technically, he's brilliant, right? And you would see he'd get the ball on the halfway line. He's strong, holds on to it, drags his foot over the ball, turns, and he's taken 3 players out of the midfield. He's gone. And I was like, oh, tasty. But the worrying bit is what I saw afterwards, not from him. He'd lay it off to a Johnson or a Tell. And what these guys do is immediately slow the game down, stop, turn, and go backwards 5 yards. And I could see already that Kudus was looking around as if to say, I've just broken the lines. We're on the attack and you've slowed it down. But that won't happen when he's playing with a Kulu, when he's playing with a Maddison. So I think we've got to take a massive chunk out of this at the moment and realize that without Kulu and without Maddison, there's going to be no creativity at the moment.
Yeah, there's just no Mavericks. There's like you said, with the player to turn, run at their man, and then realize, okay, it's going to be tough, but there's 2 against 5 right now. There's 2 of us. You need somebody with the same mentality as Kudus who wants to take on their man, who wants to run. They thrive in those scenarios. He thrives looking ahead and saying, okay, I've got a challenge on my hand. Kudus loves that. Kulu as well. Kulu runs past 4 or 5 players constantly. Madders as well. Like, these are the types of players that have that ability and they think like that. But we need more of those. That's what all your wingers should have, really. Odegaard, I did see that from Odegaard in the game against Wickham, but albeit it was Wickham. That's the thing for me. It was Wickham. So I expected to see him dribbling past 4 or 5 players quite comfortably. But we need to see the end product and the quality be better. And I think that's the biggest thing for us is in all of the players we have and all of the front line players, we lack goals and quality in front of goal heavily now. Like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, Sonny and Kane guaranteed us 50 to 60 goals because they were literally 2 of the most clinical players, not in the Premier League, in world of football. They were 2, and XG proved that. They were 2 both most clinical players. Now, we're back down to earth. We don't have nobody, even Kudus, as I like Kudus a lot, he's not clinical. So we've got a lot of players that aren't clinical on the front line. We're lacking a lot of goals. And we need to sign, I need to see some more players that are better in front of goal, because right now we're not convinced. And where you're going to find these goals is, I don't know, we can find opportunities and I think we'll create a lot. But putting the ball in the back of net is going to continue to be a problem.
Yeah, look, I just think that people need to understand this. I genuinely think everyone's going mad. Like, I'm not going to lose my mind at losing to Arsenal or Bayern Munich. I'm not going to lose my mind. These are better clubs with better footballers, and they're prepared. What also people are not taking into account, Jords, is Arsenal have been out, I believe, for 10 days or so. They've been out in Hong Kong. Yes, they've been out in this weather, this heat. Spurs have arrived on Monday night, and we're playing Thursday. Like, it's not a lot of time to acclimatise, get used to it. But I just feel like our fans, I'll call it out. I'll call it out. People like Rudolph in the chat are everything wrong with his fan base. Everything wrong with his fan base. They think Frank's just going to go like that and everything is solved. Everything is solved in a couple of pre-season games. I've never seen so many people with a lack of understanding of how professional football clubs are meant to operate. I don't care. I don't care if we beat Arsenal, Newcastle, or Bayern Munich, as long as we start gearing towards, let's see that best 11.
Yeah.
Right? Because the 2 teams we saw on Saturday, Jords, we will never see again. We will never see either of those 11s play. Right? We tried 41 players out, and people are concerned about not beating Luton Town. Like, I just think we've gone into hysterics over Frank when the bigger issues are off the pitch at the moment than on it.
Yeah, no. So the biggest issues are definitely off the pitch, and I think there should be no criticism towards Frank right now. Frank's been in a situation where, to be fair, it's been a pretty poor setup for him. Like, if he had more players going into these games and he had a few more signings, then he could probably work with the squad a lot better. But he's had to set up 2 preseason games so he can evaluate the squad. And then Spurs are probably, because we haven't signed enough players, he's had to keep some of these players that he doesn't rate. Like I said, Richarlison, Basuma, and some players that should be sold for money. He's having to bring them on tour now. So he's having to use them again and try and get some quality out of them, knowing that they're probably not players that he's going to use in the season. So I can't understand anyone getting at Frank, but more importantly, anybody expecting much. Like, there's not much of an expectation in these games. What can you expect when a manager's only got 1 new player in the squad, and most people, this squad finished 17th last year. There's quite clearly some mentality issues and some player problems. Like,
this is what I mean. At the end of the day, we all know the issues. We all know we couldn't defend for Toffee last year. There were too many errors. So people have to let Frank come in and address this. And you know, Wickham and Luton were his 2nd and 3rd games in charge with 2 very mismatched teams, and everyone losing their mind over it. I mean, listen, we could have if we'd beaten Luton 2-0 at the weekend, what would it have changed? This week, we'd all be saying the same things. We'd all be sitting here saying, we need a midfielder. We need a winger. We need a striker. We need a left back. It wouldn't have changed anything. I just don't think people are going to give Frank any time to get this sorted. That's my worry for him, Jules. I don't think they're going to give him any time. I think they're going to give him 5-10 games. And if we've not won 7 or 8 of them, people are going to lose their minds.
They should listen to what Frank said. Frank said quite clearly in his interview, we are going to lose games, people. We're going to lose.
We are.
Part of the learning curve. Frank is going to have to come in and he's gonna have to, drop points in some games. That's where players learn and how he learns what he's gonna get from these players. Only in those moments he can find out, oh, this player's not got the right mentality. Oh, this player can't push on in these moments. These players struggle in the final 50. He's going to find out more about his players as we lose games. So, yeah, people are going to give up on Frank within the first 5-10 games, then you might as well give up now. You might as well just be Frank out already. That's what I would say. Because if you're not going to give him the full season, especially as long as he gets the backing in the window, give him the full season. Give him the full season. Let it play out. Now, if we're in a similar position like we was in Ange halfway through the season, we're looking like, we're out of most of the competitions, we're bottom half of the table, then yeah, I'm not going to be against for sacking Frank. If we're in the bottom half of the table and it doesn't look like we're going to be reaching our goals, then get him sacked. But we need to give him time to build this team. And essentially, especially over the next 6 or 7 weeks, let's just let him, or 6, 7, let's say 6 to 12 weeks, let him embed his style, let him embed his players and embed it into the team properly, man.
Yeah, it's going to take time. And let me just quickly do the super chat. Big up to Tony Rodriguez, who said, I'm sick and tired of this bullshit club. I've been doing this shit since 1977. What the F are we doing? Yeah, man, listen, I hear you. I mean, you've got 5 years on me, Tony. But hey, between us, we've got nearly 90 years of supporting Spurs. And it's just hard. It's hard work at times, Tony. We love the club so much, but it's tough. I'm seeing Man United. It almost looks like they won the Europa League. Cunha and Buemo, possibly Sesko or Watkins. I saw this morning. I don't know how good this link was, Tony, but I saw this morning that apparently they're bidding for Hjulmand.
I saw that.
Sporting Lisbon. And you look and you go, who won that game? I understand, man, you were a big club. I understand people will still want to go there. But who is moving like they won the game and got Champions League, and who is moving like they lost it? Because the transfer window, big up, Tony, thank you. You're always very generous to me. The transfer window we're having, ladies and gents, is almost the transfer window I would expect if we had no Europe at all. This is the window I would expect if we had lost the Europa League final and we all go, oh, well, we haven't got Champions League revenue. I kind of get it. But we did win it. We sneaked in. What you just said there was interesting because if you look back, I remember Chelsea 2 years ago under Poch started really poor. Really poor. And I remember Poch giving an interview and he said, I'm not a miracle worker. I need some time. And the Chelsea fans going, oh, you're at Chelsea. You don't get time. This is a big club. First 10 games, it was the complete opposite to Ange's. Ange was magnificent for the first 10 games. First 10 games, Chelsea were awful. Then, from game 11 to game 38, Chelsea were the third best team in the Premier League in that 28 games because Poch had 2-3 months to get in his ideas, get the partnerships built. Are our fans going to give this manager 10, 15 games to let this bed in? This is truly a worry for me as to how reactive we're about to be to what is a very good coach that needs time.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll be real. I don't blame the fans. I blame the board. Again, I blame the board for frustrating the fans so much that the only person they feel like they can take it out on is the man that heads up the team, which is the manager. Because if we went out and got good players, I think, and we know we were serious about this window, because just a few weeks ago, everybody was happy in the Spurs fan base. Remember coming on YouTube, we're all happy, we all got smiles. Everyone literally in the chat is all happy. And now, like, it's done a full 180 flip, and everybody's starting to be concerned. And I agree, like, we should have this concern. And it's just the fact that the board fail and they don't ever learn. They put managers in tough positions. And now he's going to get the brunt of all the frustration that's towards the club and it's towards the board. But he's going to get the brunt of it. And people are going to start saying stupid things like, this manager's not good enough after a couple losses. Because is it like, if he's not got the tools to do the job, then yeah, he's not going to do a great job. So he's not going to be good enough. But it always comes down to, has the board backed the manager? Have they done the right job? That doesn't look like it's the case. It generally doesn't look like the case. And like I said, Man United, they've got target, like they took Mboma away from us. They've took Cunha, a top win. Like their front line already looks better than ours. They've already improved their team majorly. And we all just got kudos. Like, What are we doing?
And if they get Sesko or Watkins to make that front three, let's say they get Sesko, Cunha, and Mbuemo. There's goals there. There's power there. There's pace there. You got Bruno. You got Bruno in behind who's got goals and assists, and it's one game a week. One game a week, George.
One game a week. And like we said before, they've signed 3 players that all fit into that first team. Not, they come in to compete, or, we can't sign a right forward because it's going to block Amad Diallo's progression. Forget Amad Diallo. Forget his progression. We're signing the best players available so our team's good. And that's what they've done. They've done a really good job in acquiring those players so far. And with Saran done nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Can I tell you something that makes me slightly sick? Somebody's just, I'll tell you what, we can have a look at this because he's your mate right now. I'm going to call him your mate, Romano, because he's giving news that isn't about Spurs that pisses me off. Where are we? This. Now, think back. We paid 40-odd million, 45 million, whatever, for Tell, right? This is what a proper club does with 40, 45 million. Inter Milan just got in a bid, 40 million plus 5 million add-ons for Lookman. All right. Now, I'm not going to sit here, George, and pretend that I think Lookman's the greatest footballer I've ever seen. But this is a ready-made player, European experience, played at the top level. Did he score a hat-trick in the European final?
Yeah.
For Atalanta?
Yeah.
Right. 45. If they get him for this, 40 million euros. What's that? 36 million quid, 35 million quid plus add-ons. We paid the same for Tell. This is the difference between how a proper club moves and how Tottenham Hotspur move. I might be being reactive, but this upsets me. This just upsets me.
Yeah, both of them. Seeing him, Lookman, and then Igor Paschal both go for 40 million euros. I'm like, those 2 players both start for Tottenham. I can name so many left wingers that start for Tottenham that are better than the left wingers for Fana. Like, there's so many players out there. And I'm seeing half of these players are getting targeted by relegated Premier League side, and they all start for us. They start for us. And like, I'm looking around, I'm just like, who are Spurs looking at? Like, what do Spurs see in some of the players that we like? Tell 35, like 40 million. What did we see from Tell to think that it really warranted a 40 million pound deal? And I'm not one that's on Tell's back. I think he's a good player. He's got some good qualities and got some potential. But if you could sign a player like Lookman or Igor Paschal, who's more refined at this moment in time, 24, 25, they give you an impact right now. And that's the type of players we should go for. But with Spurs, I was even talking about this in my stream earlier. We always go way too one way. Like, we go for young players, but we go for all young players. We don't just sign a couple young players and then mix it in like Chelsea do with a few experienced players. You're supposed to do a bit of both. You do some young with some experience, not all young players. And that's where we're at right now. We're just trying to sign all the best 21, 22-year-olds, not even the best ones. The ones that we can get pretty much. Just the ones that want to come to us. And it's poor. It's poor business.
Yeah, by the way, guys and girls in the chat, I'm not saying about, I think people are missing the point. I'm not saying, oh my God, I just wanted Lookman. What my point is I'm making is that, like George just said, Lookmans are available for that price. Paschal, Malik Fofana, Mikatadze. There are players that are available for so much cheaper than what we paid for Tell. It just screamed of lazy scouting. It screamed of, we don't really know European football. Let me go to a couple of super chats. Big up to MUFC, who's in here again. I said, we are going to have a free of Cunha and Mbuemo and Sesko or Watkins. Yeah. If you get one of those strikes over the line, I'll be even more worried if you get that plus Hjulmand, who I think will do wonders for your midfield, and the fact that you're playing one game a week. So, yeah, listen, I think as much as we all knock Man U and laugh at them and stuff, at the moment, you would say that they're acting like you would expect Man United to act in some regards. Not in all, but in some regards. Big up to you, MUFC. Big up. He's coming again. Said Garnacho and Toby Collier is available. Sancho also. He keeps trying to sell us all his players. I saw this morning that Sancho, possibly Dortmund, might be coming back in. Yeah, and that Man U have possibly put the price down to 20 million now. MUFC, this is the thing though, right? You guys are going to have to sell some players. Like you've bought Mbeumo and Cunha, and the only one that's gone out that I can think of, George might tell me if I'm wrong, in that area is Rashford on loan. So you've not actually made money. You've got Anthony, you've got Garnacho, Sancho, Hoyland, Xerxes, Diallo. You've got a lot of players there. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and I've seen reports saying that we're interested in Garnacho and so on, and I'm just like, mate, if we're gonna go and pick up, this is where some of the biggest issues I have with Tottenham or with the Premier League, and as we're gonna go help fund one of our rivals, and let's have right, Man United is a direct rival of ours right now, maybe not locally, but with regards to positionally in the Premier League, we're gonna go help them fund one of their pushes for better players. We've damn lost our minds. We shouldn't be going to Man United, shouldn't be going to Liverpool, shouldn't be going to any of these clubs to pick up any players, because if they're willing to get rid of a player, it's quite clearly there's a problem. That player is not that good. Now, if you go into Man City and you're picking up, we all know Man City have got a bunch of academy graduates or a bunch of good players that they're willing to let go. But away from that, I wouldn't go to Man United. I wouldn't go to Chelsea. I wouldn't go to Liverpool to go pick up any of their scrubs. It just don't make sense.
Do you know the worrying thing for me about all of this? And what I've always said about Garnacho is, do I want him as a first choice? No. But the worrying thing for me is that he's still better than any of our left wingers. That shows me the caliber of left winger we have. That's worrying for me. That's worrying that I'm sitting there in my mind going, would I take Garnacho? I want to be sitting there going, nah. But mate, I'm truly worried. Somebody in the chat has just said, "Oh, big up to Musings of a Football Fan. I've been a member for a month now. Big up to you, my man." Said, "Big up, Savva Jords. Was there in Bilbao. Thought we had finally lost the Spursy tag. Nah, man, Spursy's here to stay forever, forever. It only took us 2 months to fall back into our normal ways. Look, dude. Listen, a lot of us got sucked in, me included. This mug here, this mug." The old boy should know better. But I did just see a post that I thought was quite interesting. Somebody said, somebody said, hang on, where is it? By the way, big up Aaron. How you doing, bro? Hope you're well. Big up to James, saying it's his first time here. Big up to you. We'll ease you in gently. Don't you worry about that. Where are we? Big up. Thank you, James. Really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to George, James, as well, please. Where is it? It said, oh, God, where can I see it? Basically, it said, Frank, here we go. I think it was this one. I said, tell me where Spurs go from here. I'm confused how Thomas Frank comes in and the signings feel the same as Ange. I think the problem is since Thomas Frank's been here, we've only signed Takai and Kudus. I think the problem is the lack of signings. Tottenham go not the same. He's not. He wasn't Tell. He wasn't Danso, and he wasn't Vuskovic. So far, he's been given one first team player. And even when Ange joined, George, even when I know you've got to shoot in a minute, don't you? Yeah. Even when Ange joined in his first window, he was given a first choice goalkeeper in Vicario, first choice centre half in Van der Ven, playmaker in Maddison. He was given Brennan Johnson, who he wanted, right? Adogi had just come back from loan, so he had a brand new first choice left back. Porro had been signed 6 months before. I think he had quite a few in that first year that he could build around. Thomas Frank's been given Kudus.
Four first team players, and that's all we're asking. That's literally what we're asking for now. We want 3 to 4 first team players to come into the lineup. That gives Frank a good core to build from, and they're his players, his players that he's chosen his first season that he can build around, build upon that. Maybe in January, if we need more, add 1 or 2, and then go into next summer and see where we need to improve and so on. But that's exactly what we need. What we've done in Ange's first window. And the thing is, we actually done those early. We got Maddison done in July. We had Van der Ven done early August. I think Vicario was done in July, late July. And then you had Brennan Johnson done later on in the window. But that's the type of window that I'd expect to have a better quality one at that, because obviously I think I wasn't happy with some of those players. But that type of window is in signing players like that. So we're still some way behind that, and it doesn't look like it's speeding up anytime soon, man. It really doesn't.
Yeah, poor from Tottenham. Listen, George, we'll leave it there. I know you've got to bounce in a minute, and listen, I've got another show later on tonight, so I'll leave it there for the moment, guys and girls. I'll ask, please, please go and subscribe to Jords. We should be treating our guests how we want them to treat us. Let's get him 100 subscribers. Let's help his channel grow. Thank you to all those that are subscribed to me. As we chase that, I don't even know what the next target is. It doesn't really matter at this point. Please subscribe, like. I'm going to chuck you all over to Don Hassam because he's always good fun. Please, when you get there, type in Savva Raid. Show some love to the other clubs. I'll be back at 8 p.m. tonight when I'm joined by Charlie from Blue Brother and also Aaron Talks Arsenal. We're going to have a look at some of the transfers and talk all things football. Join us at 8 p.m. Subscribe to Jords. Jords, thanks very much, bro. Really appreciate that.
I appreciate it every time, man. Thank you for having me on. We'll be back next Tuesday, innit? Let's talk transfers on my channel. So hopefully there's actually transfers to talk about because it seems like there wasn't any to this today.
Yeah, there's no news. Well, at least next Tuesday we would have played Newcastle and Arsenal. So we'll have some stuff.
I have some games to review at least, and hopefully some good performances. So we're not so down bad like we are right now. But hey, we'll be back soon. And yeah, man, smash the likes on your way out, people. Make sure you smash the like button.
Thanks, everyone. Listen, as I said, when you get to Donna Sam, just type in Savva Raid. Much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.